You know? Yeah, I know I forgot to add everyone. It's fine. That's not important. I don't have to add everyone for everything. It's fine. This is a very relaxed stream. Before I actually... Hold on, let me just transfer it over, so... you know, I'll transfer it over later. So, main thing is... I'm gonna see if I can mute the, audio. No, I'll just turn off the, desktop audio. But we're just gonna relax. We're gonna listen to some very spooky stories from a guy with a very chill voice. I probably should have linked the playlist I'm using in the description. I'll actually just... You know what, I'm just gonna link it. Hold on, where is it? I'm just gonna link it in chat. It'll be fine. I'm gonna link it in chat. And hopefully he doesn't freaking mind. I almost misspelled stories. I'm actually gonna pin it. And bada bing, bada boom, look at me, I'm a big brain girl. Sometimes, if I feel like it. You know, actually, I was just more in the mood for a more relaxing stream in general. I was flip-flopping between this and Final Fantasy XIV, but I feel like we should make some progress in the Pokemans. Anyway. Gonna boot up I'm gonna start the playlist. And hopefully it doesn't buffer too hard, the playlist at least. Gonna pick a random one. I should get out of studio mode because that's for nerds. I need to fix that.
Let me take another drink before I get started. It will most likely be my last. I'm never going to leave this place.
See here.
I've been in this room for hours typing this story, and I need it to be told. I keep trying to finish, but sometimes I feel like my mind is slipping away.
There we go.
I'm posting here for one simple reason. I do not have access to a phone, social media, or any site to ask for help. I cannot trust anyone here. They're going to kill me. I will start from the beginning. The first time I had ever heard of the Lionheart Chateau.
Okay, I cannot actually,
early from work.
Hold on,
eager
here.
To share some exciting news. She was beaming when I entered the front door.
Open volume mixer.
Pamphlet.
There we go.
She went on to explain that a few months ago, she had entered a contest and won an all-inclusive...
So there's no option to just turn down the music.
Boasting about how they do not market like
we
other
will
businesses.
Live.
No website, billboards, signs, or...
I mean, you can add everyone if you want. I think I gave you that power.
Inclusive was all I needed.
Where the fuck were we? What were we doing? I don't remember.
She was 9 months pregnant. My wife convinced me we needed a mini vacation. She assured me there was a great hospital close enough in case she went into labor. I am embarrassed to admit, I'm not sure of the exact location of the...
I don't remember what we were doing, so I'm just gonna heal up again.
My home is in New York City. My wife mentioned the chateau was upstate. I insisted on driving so that she could rest. The way the baby had been kicking during this trimester had made it very hard on her. I woke her up just as we were pulling up to the large colonial building buried deep within the woods. That part I remember distinctly.
What levels are Pokemans?
Long, winding
all around. They're around 20.
The rest of the journey feels like a dream.
I don't know why I was moving my right stick like it would actually move the camera. That's very silly.
To get out of the car, my wife suggested that we leave our phones locked in the center console.
Oh yeah, I also have, just like the title said, I have alcohol. Jack Daniels, Down Home Punch Country Cocktails.
I've always been
fresh taste, served cold. Mostly cold, it's cold enough.
With it and attempted
see how it
to try
tastes.
And get work done over the weekends. She went on to tell me she wanted this weekend
I approve.
To be about us.
Very nice.
And not about my phone. I couldn't find a reason to argue with her and kept my phone in the car.
Alright, fine. I'll add everyone.
About the laptop packed in my suitcase. I was impressed from the moment we arrived. The building itself was beautiful.
Bam.
A massive mansion.
We are vibing with spooky stories.
The staff was courteous, racing up to our car to help us right away.
I have to turn off the game volume.
It was truly about my wife and I. And we were the only customers in the entire chateau. The staff catered to our every need.
Howard.
A luxury cruise.
Go!
I had little to complain about, and I honestly was enjoying myself.
Right, isn't it grass type? It's grass and fairy, isn't it?
The first oddity occurred on Saturday evening. My wife retired.
You're really gonna do this to me? Fine.
And I decided to head to the bar. Every staff member I encountered said the same thing. We are truly blessed to have you and your wife in our presence.
See how it is?
What I think I found odd is...
Can you guys hear the stories alright? Can you guys hear the playlist alright?
In the past, but these people were ecstatic that we were here. Each compliment...
I could turn it up if you guys need to.
Like we were royalty, and they had waited their entire lives to meet us.
Nice.
Everywhere I went, I felt their eyes on me.
I think it was F9 to get into Pokemon Care.
After a few glasses of red wine, I got up and searched for a bathroom.
9? It was F9. Ha! I was correct!
The bar. That's when I heard it.
A man's dirty.
Humming coming from one of the basement rooms.
Sir, you're too tall. I can't. Up there. Sir, thank you.
I crept towards a door that was slightly ajar and peered inside.
No, you get no bean.
The source of the humming.
That good sound is good.
About 10 staff members dressed in white robes. They were on their hands and knees and appeared to be praying to something in the corner of the room.
I don't know why I right-clicked out.
As they saw me, a woman rushed to the door and slammed it shut. I never saw what they were praying to. I went back to our room, ready to tell my wife what I saw. I remember feeling especially after the walk upstairs.
Oh, you've got to be a trial girl, right? Well, you've got a good sense of timing.
I climbed into
bed. The captain's actually here now, so come on.
I woke up
okie dokie.
Extremely groggy and confused. Everything from the previous night seemed like a bad dream. I looked at the clock in disbelief.
Mawo.
It was 3 p.m. I have no idea how I could have possibly slept that long. Even more concerning, my wife although she's never happy when I oversleep, she always wakes me up.
Tommy, you got the goods. Hey, thanks for stopping by. The moo moo milk with the Paniola Ranch is the best. It's pretty creamy when you use the white sauce and other things. The taste can't even be described. I think this is the same voice I gave the Team Skull goons.
The halls of the chateau.
The fucking goons.
Didn't feel so inviting.
Fucking mooks.
I decided to head outside to search the grounds and grab my phone out of the car.
Oh, bless your heart. Oh, by the way, since I was lucky enough to run into you here, I'll do you a little favor.
All of the windows in the chateau.
Stoutland was registered. Whoa, dog.
Or too high to reach.
See, Stoutland can sniff out items for you that are buried in the dirt where you can't even see them. When you're at Stoutland, pressing B to use that Stoutland search is what it's all about. Get up there and try it. There's all kinds of stuff lying around waiting for you to find it. Stoutland will bark louder and louder the closer it gets to some item buried in the ground. Well, gee, I can't hear it. If you go all the way down Route 5, you'll come out on Brooklet Hill. My friend Lana is up there, so say hi to her for her if you see her.
The staff was worshipping last night, and her cries of pain grew louder. I pounded on the door as hard as I could. To my surprise, it was opened from the other side. 3
You find a thing?
In the same white robes stood in front of me. Before I could fight back, it was over. I was held down by 2 as the other pulled a large syringe from his pocket. A sharp pain shot through my shoulder. and I quickly lost consciousness. I woke up back in my room, but I assumed
you know what? It's
it was
fine.
hours later.
We'll live.
I
It feels
ran to the
weird.
door,
I know, but there's no option for me to
just
turn
as I
off
feared.
just the
It was a
game
glitch.
music. There was no
The
option.
suitcase was open, and all of my belongings were
I
scattered.
mean, I could
across the
turn it
room.
on, but have it at a really
Someone had
low
come through
volume.
too. Presumably.
Well, you know what?
search
Yeah, let's try
phones
that.
and
Hold up.
weapons. The only thing I knew they wouldn't
Hold
find
up.
was
Let's
my
try
laptop.
that.
I placed it in the gap underneath a large
I don't want
dresser
that.
in the corner of our room.
I would like a volume mixer.
Luckily, as I was attempting to log into my email to get help, the TV in the room turned on. I looked at the screen in horror.
What's the file? I'm going to pause you for a second. So I wanted to pause you for a second. Figure, audio. Well, turning it down to 5% was just like, that means no audio, correct? Oh, we'll figure this out, guys. We'll figure this out. I like how apparently if you don't have it at 100%, it's just like, so no audio. Come on, I could just turn it down in OBS, but then it wouldn't quite be the same. Let's see here. Properties. TV audio voice meter. Vile! Let's see if this helps. That's apparently 48%. That was apparently, that's 48% apparently. Here's what, I'll just turn it down. I'll just turn it, oh no, wait. No, wait. Yeah, I'll just turn it down in OBS.
Surrounded by the staff. There's a large golden statue behind her, depicting a man's body with a lion's head and holding a butcher's knife. She was wearing the same white robe and holding a newborn child. Our child.
Well, let's see. Is there something in
Rest, smiled intently into the camera as she spoke.
Can I actually just turn this up?
You would never understand, so I never bothered to explain. A child.
I know it's already at freaking max.
Blessed to have him in our presence, but I fear you have done your job, and your journey is over. Just outside your room, in the courtyard, we are preparing your glorious departure from this world.
Okay, yeah, I can't up that.
We love you. The screen went black.
I'll turn this up some more
my
too.
Hands as I tried to comprehend what I had just seen and heard.
Okay.
I remembered what she told me.
How's that sound,
I
guys?
went to the window to look outside into the courtyard. I saw them all. Dozens of them. All in white robes, building what I can only describe as a funeral.
How's that?
I'm certain it's prepared for me. I'm sending this out to the world. I hope that it is received somewhere out there.
Fuck.
I'm begging you.
Sounds good? Alright.
If it is too late for me, then this is a warning.
Oh wait, oh yeah, isn't this a new encounter?
At the Lionheart Chateau.
Holy fuck! Oh, ouch.
I recently inherited my grandfather's rural home, a log cabin buried deep within 100 acres of woodland, a picturesque scene untouched for decades, and a perfect dwelling that I am now proud
Blue.
to call my own.
It will match
I
you.
would spend the weekends
Whoa.
the wooded paths,
You
the
button?
ponds.
How dare you?
Were always a welcoming change from the cramped city apartment I shared with my parents and sister. My grandfather only had one rule. Never
Get in the ball, Swampert. Come on. Come on.
It was an easy rule to follow.
Come on. Be a good boy.
The dark.
Be good.
What I looked for
Yo!
visits were my trips to the Hollow Tree. Exactly half a mile from the cabin stands a large oak, towering over the nearby smaller trees. Its unprecedented height is not the only unique feature.
Nekuba, you want to learn Scary
The
Face?
trunk is a
What's
very
Scary
large
Face even do
fountain,
again?
giving the tree a hollow appearance.
What speed stat? Nah.
Led to the landmark's appropriate name.
Nah.
My eyes lit up when I discovered a new treasure lying within the hollow tree. My blue bison.
Yes, alright. Who gets to be Swampert?
And the dozens of other
Who should be Swampert?
found throughout my formative years. Grandfather never admitted to putting the toys in the hollow trunk. A gift from
You know what?
I suppose he would say with exaggerated confusion. I knew he was not
Dream
lying,
Labs.
as he was the only person living within 100 miles of the tree. But I enjoyed the game, and I never questioned my gifts from the woods. As I grew older, my visits to my grandfather's cabin were fewer, and upon his passing,
Add to the party.
hollow tree
But who are we gonna get rid of?
to honor him, I had his ashes placed on a mantle in an ornate urn. The path I stroll each morning leads straight to the hollow tree. I happened to glance inside its trunk as I walked past. Lying on the ground, inside the tree, were torn shreds of dark brown fabric. Curiosity carried my feet to the mouth of the cavernous oak. As I knelt down and picked up the shredded cloth,
Yeah, I think we do have a good enough team.
there was the mangled remains
Alright.
of an old teddy bear.
Man's all soaked again.
The one I had lost in these very same woods 25 years ago.
He's dripping in it.
I had searched for the missing stuffed animal day and night. One of its black button eyes hung by a thread and dangled in the air. The other was missing completely. Dark, oily liquid stained the worn material and left it reeking with a putrid smell.
Freaking drowning.
My mind raced to find an explanation of how the bear could have ended up inside the hollow tree.
Your hands a Kyogre. Ah, shit, man.
Or the wind.
You better catch it.
Seemed highly unlikely after so many years. I reluctantly stuffed the remains into my coat pocket and made my way back home.
Yo, a sticker!
That night, I dreamt of my grandfather. He stood at the edge of the woods. Large snowflakes fell and stuck to his jet black coat.
Ryan?
He raised his pale, thin hand and beckoned me towards him.
Yo, is that a motherfucking pseudo-wudo?
The wind howled as its chilling needles stung my face.
Oh! 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 I actually don't know if we can catch this dude! Does this count for legendary claws? I actually don't know if we can catch him. Don't you need the beast balls to catch Ultra Beasts?
Dark like a drop of black ink on a white canvas. Without warning, a horrifying shriek escaped.
And don't you need the beast balls to catch Ultra Beasts?
The wood-cutting scream rang through the woods, sending a frightened murder.
Well, you know what? I guess we will find out.
Gray, overcast sky. My grandfather's tired, broken voice filled my
It bit me!
gift from the tree.
I will try!
A high-pitched listening wind and bitter cold jolted me from my slumber. My body
Wow, rude.
violently. I was outside, in the woods. I hadn't slept yet since I was a child. Yet here I was in the middle of winter,
Bruh.
dressed only in a bathrobe, standing before the hollow tree.
I'm a...
Just as I was about to turn and head back to the cabin,
Thou hast been punished!
my eyes
Oh, fuck!
a small inside
Oh, God.
empty trunk. I quickly ran to the mouth, picked up the cold plastic object, and dropped it into the pocket of my robe. I sprinted back to the cabin as quickly as I could. The dead leaves crunched loudly beneath my bare feet. I burst through the
Run!
fire, wrapped myself in a blanket, and prepared the fireplace. As soon as my body temperature started to return to normal, I pulled the object from my pocket
Go on!
and placed it on the floor.
Behave!
It was my walkie-talkie, another childhood toy.
Mother...
This
You better behave!
any sense. My sister and I would play with them all
Better
the time
behave. Come on.
until the day I
Come on!
accidentally dropped my receiver into the
Son
pond.
of a bitch.
I'll never forget how upset I was as I watched it sing. Again, the hollow tree had returned another long-lost possession, and my name was still scribbled on the side. As I sat, dumbfounded,
Okay, yeah, I don't think
the
so.
walkie-talkie turned on,
We're gonna have to kill him.
ever so quietly.
He must
and the
die.
voice crackled from a tiny speaker. The noise was brief, the scream right in my
Holy
ear.
fuck.
But just before the walkie-talkie turned off, for a split second, the hushed voice whispered my name. I took off the back panel of the receiver, and just as I feared,
I think you do need the beast balls to catch the Ultra
I
Beast.
hurried to the attic and locked away the bear.
Do I have
in my
revives?
chest.
In my bag.
I decided then to avoid Hollow Tree, and my morning walks altogether. The dreams continued. The same
I
night
do not.
each night,
We will not be getting...
and the crows.
Excuse me, can I heal up here?
Moving furniture in
Real
front of
quick.
my doors to prevent my late-night sleepwalks into the woods. Things were going well until the day my grandfather's urn went missing.
Sure, I'll take an
I
egg.
just returned from work.
I received
I
egg.
froze as I stared upon the vacant mantle. My heart
I will
pounded.
add egg to party.
I knew exactly where it was. I laced my boots, threw on my coat.
How can I separate Tulio and Miguel? I think I'll separate Miguel for now.
Grabbing an axe from the woodshed on the way. Dark clouds left the world dreary, and the sun was setting. As I approached the giant oak, the unnatural stillness of the woods droned eerie silence around me. I shone a beam of my flashlight into the hollow tree. The cabin illuminated.
Oh, cool.
I crouched down to
HM10.
and nearly threw up. Dark, sappy liquid dripped from the bark. On the ground, my eyes met blank stares of 13 dead crows, their small bodies severed and completely hollowed out. I gazed upwards, and within the
Alright.
twisted branches,
You ready to just run back and forth for a bit?
beautiful silver and gold urn. The tree was toying with me, beckoning me to
God, I was moving so
climb the
fast.
tree to retrieve my grandfather. Rage consumed me. Tightly gripping the axe's wooden handle, I swung as hard as I could. sound of the blade striking the oak was unbearable. Each blow sent a sound wave of shrieks from the bark, the same scream I dreamt of each night. Thick, crimson liquid gurgled from...
Take out the bowl, okay.
I chopped until I couldn't lift my arms. The hollowness of the trunk echoed the screams like a concert hall. With anger pulsing throughout my body, I held the axe with all of my strength. And with a dull thud, it stuck right in the middle of the tree.
Wait, you know what else we could do? You know what else we could do?
Just then, the branches untangled and the urn began to shift. I hurried to the spot directly underneath and carefully grabbed it as it fell. I held the porcelain vessel like a newborn child, turning back only once to see the wounded
fucking wizard
bubbling its thick, bloody sap. I placed my grandfather back on the mantle. Exhausted, I fell face first onto my couch and passed out. The dream was different this time. I met with my grandfather in the woods, only all the trees had been cut down, leaving a sea of dark stone.
The egg will hatch soon! Whoa!
He whispered a new message into my ear. It does not give. Again, I woke to find myself in the woods, and I looked out of horror.
Oh?
Before me stood 3 more trees.
We have bird!
Trunks. I still believe my grandfather was the one leaving the gifts.
We have a bird. Whoa. To the box with you. Sure. Egg? Egg. Good name. I only put 1 G, so it's egg.
David?
Hold on, I really do want to see if I can boost this. To the internet. Let's see here. IMP boost volume. Maybe? I don't know if peak normalization will work, but we will see. Egg.
I'm an alien. I rubbed to the back of my neck as I stared across the table at my girlfriend.
Hey!
Who brought me to my favorite restaurant to confess something important to me.
I can hear much clearer now.
I don't get what you mean, I said. Like, you're Canadian or something? No, I mean, I'm an actual extraterrestrial being, she said. I'm not even from this galaxy. The clink of dishes and the ambient chatter of the happy couples around us seemed like distant echoes as the wheels in my head ground slowly to a halt. 30 minutes ago, I'd been the most nervous I'd ever been in my entire life. A small, blue velvet box clenched tightly in my fist as I prepared to pop the most important question I'd ever asked. And yet, instead of a giddy yes and a tear-stained hug...
Oh, I might have made a mistake. I wasn't paying attention to what movie was using.
Oh, in 5 minutes of awkward silence. I felt like all those romantic comedies lied to me. Now, I was sitting across from the love of my life, and she was telling me that we couldn't get married because she wasn't even human. Now,
goodbye,
I'm not
egg.
stranger to excuses. I've been turned down by girls because they had to wash their hair or walk their dogs. I even got stood up by a girl who said her grandmother had died. I was sympathetic until I got an Instagram notice that she'd checked in at the local nightclub. Still, this one was new.
What should I name this Beldum? Belbro.
What are you thinking about? I don't really know what to think, I said. Your body certainly seems pretty human to me. Yeah, about that, she said. I need to show you something. Don't freak out, okay? Okay.
Bro! Come on!
Left arm and began to use her fingertip to
Rude!
trace an intricate pattern across the back of her hand. There was a click, and a blue light...
I can't believe you'd fucking do this to me, man.
Suddenly, the light forked out like electricity, and then Sarah was gone. Sitting in her place was a blue little creature that looked a little bit like a smurf with 2 rabbit ear-shaped antennae sticking out from the top of its head. There was the sound of breaking glass, and I realized I dropped my wine glass and it had shattered on the floor. The waitress rushed over to clean it up, seemingly oblivious to the fact that there was now a 3-foot-tall alien sitting across from me.
Mud slap!
A human woman. I stared around the restaurant, waiting for somebody else to take notice, but nobody did.
Oh God!
Am I
Mud slap
having
again!
a stroke? I said. I thought you were supposed to smell burning toast when that happened. Sarah shook her head.
Why?
It's my perceptual modulator, she said. It's tuned to your brain frequency. Only you can see my true form right now. All right, of course, I said faintly. A perceptual modulator. I reached for my glass of wine, only to remember that it had shattered moments ago. You're not freaking out, are you? Asked Sarah.
Good God.
I
Good
thought about
God.
the question for a moment. I probably should have been freaking out, but it seemed more like my brain had totally ceased all function. No, I said, reaching again for a non-existent glass of wine. Good, she replied. Because...
You know, it sounds more interesting and spooky. Yeah, some of the creepypastas in this place are not as creepy as you'd think.
I'm afraid it's worse than that, said Sarah. She nudged her glass of red wine across the table to me, and I downed it in a gulp. All right, I said. I'm ready. Sarah bit a lip and swayed nervously in a chair. Well, she began. I kind of, eat people. You eat people? I asked, reaching for the bottle this time. Yes, she said. But not whole people, just the brains. I tipped the bottle to pour myself another glass, thought better of it, and down the whole bottle instead. I coughed as the last bit of bitter taste hit my throat, and then wiped the wine stain from my lips.
Oh, power band.
So, to recap, I said. You're an alien who can only survive by eating human brains. What? Said Sarah. No, I can survive off human food. Brains are more like a delicacy.
Oh, rare candy.
Oh.
Oh, rare candy.
There was a moment of awkward silence in which Sarah bit her lip and stared at the floor. But it's not like I'm a bad person, she said. I only eat bad people. Do you remember your neighbor, Mr. Wallows, that tried to poison your dog? Yeah, I said. Didn't he retire to Hawaii? Sarah shook her head.
Come on.
No, she said. I ate his brains. Wow, I said, scratching at the back of my head. This is really a lot to take in.
Well, you know, I need to run back to a,
You're still not freaking out, right? Said Sarah. Judging by my heart rate and the intense ringing in my
I don't
ears,
think I have any
I
repels.
was, in fact, freaking out. But Sarah looked so nervous for me. I couldn't help but shake my head no. Sarah breathed a sigh of relief and said, well, that's good, because I have a confession to make. You really have a lot of these, don't you? I said. This is the last one, Sarah said. I promise. Alright, I said.
Delicious.
Actually, Sarah said, maybe you should have another bottle of wine for this one. She reached down into her purse and pulled out my favourite wine, uncorked it, and slid it across the table to me. I upended the bottle into my mouth, and 10 seconds later, it was gone. All right, I said, beginning to slur. Hit me. Well, Sarah said, failing for the first time to meet my eyes. You know how I insisted we come here on our first date? Yeah, I said, a sudden dread beginning to bubble in my stomach. Well, Sarah said, it's because I know the owner. He's actually from my home planet. Oh no, I said. Don't tell me. I'm afraid so, said Sarah. Most of the dishes contain human brains.
Delicious.
I looked down.
Now, I'm not one for human brains myself. I've never had them.
I proclaimed it as the
But
best
according to Nekoma here, it's the worst part of the human body to eat.
I said. I'm afraid so, replied Sarah.
Oh, do you sell the moo milks?
I began to feel very sick. I wasn't sure how much of it was the wine, and how much of it was the fact that I just consumed human brains. I guess it didn't matter. Yet, when I looked at Sarah, I forgot about that. Her fingers twisted in her lap as she stared down at the floor, the way she always did when she was nervous. She looked up at me with doe-eyed innocence.
What the fuck is going on here?
Are you mad at me? She asked.
What the fuck is going on here?
Maybe it was the fact that, even in her alien form, she still looked so much like the woman I loved. Maybe it was the fact that Mr. Wallows was a racist, mean old bugger. Maybe it was the fact that I just downed 2 entire bottles of wine. But I silently shook my head no.
Yeah, okay.
So, do you still want
You want a piece of me? I'll show you what happens when you mess with Team Skull.
Tremulous with
Ugh! Freaking squatting at me.
I silently nodded.
Disgusting.
With a grin the size of Texas. She ran a finger along the back of her hand and resumed a human form.
That's fucking disgusting.
Bigger than I'd ever seen her smile before. I'll stay in this form from now on, she said. It's the one you fell in love with, after all. Yeah.
Cosmic power.
That's probably for the best. Then, as the wine began to seep into my blood, a thought occurred to me.
Fucking disgusting!
So, that, perceptual modulator thing, I said. Yes, said Sarah.
I demand that you slaughter this bee off.
Can it alter your appearance in other ways? Like, hypothetically, could you make certain parts, bigger?
Oh my!
Sarah threw her head back and laughed. Oh, it can do all kinds of things, she said.
Yo, Streamlabs is getting stronger!
I want to show you something. I fumbled for my wallet in my pocket and dropped all the cash.
Man, this man is taking the fact that his girlfriend turned out to be a brain-eating alien in stride. It's admirable. So your fault, cause what handle with that pocket.
I only say that, even though my fiance may be a brain-eating alien, she's still the woman I fell in love with.
Yo, you got lucky, punk! Don't you count on people that'll be here next time, you fucking moke!
Can do
fucking moke! Alright. It's gone just like that.
You know who we are.
No.
We're the ones who sit in the back, in the corner.
Oh.
We don't talk much. We don't ask you how your weekend was. We don't discuss the weather. We don't care. You all know one. You're thinking of them now. That person who sits behind you in class. That co-worker in the corner desk who never talks to you. That neighbor who rarely comes out of their house.
But that's me!
In your life. Please, do not confuse us with the other ones. The creepy ones. The ones who hit on you repeatedly. The awkward ones who try too hard to make you like them. They are not us. No. I'm talking about the people who you don't even notice are there. You don't notice when we're there. You don't notice when we're not there. The invisible ones.
Oh my god.
We come and go as we please, and you have no idea. We don't talk to each other if that's what you're thinking. This isn't some secret network or club. We don't have meetings.
Holy
we don't
fucking moly.
Emails. There isn't a sub for us. We're just here. We just watch. We just think. We just plan. We all do know each other, however. I don't mean personally.
Yeah, it's just what the other one pipe.
We walk past each other in the street, in the hallway, in the office. We know. We recognize each other. There are no nods or winks. We don't high five. We just look into each other's eyes and know. Some of us team up, though most don't. The ones who do, however, almost never make it through. We're just better on our own. Don't ask me why, because I don't know. I don't know why we're like this. I started thinking about it many years ago.
Up we go.
The first one. After that, I didn't care anymore. I didn't need an
fucking double battle.
After that moment, for the first time in my life, I liked being me. I was 16. I'd felt out of place my whole life. I had friends, but I wasn't interested in them. And they weren't interested in me. In school, I was invisible. I never got bullied, but wasn't a popular kid either. I was there physically, just not mentally. I was always off somewhere else in my head, having some grand, horrid adventure. I lived in my head. I overthought everything. I worried about everything.
Oh, bam!
I was giving myself cancer. I was sure of it. My dad left.
Hi, Dragon.
I met him.
We're vibing.
My mom
Tonight.
was a secretary for a local optometrist and made enough money for us to live comfortably. Our little life was fine and dandy, except for one thing. One large, sweaty thing. Her boss, Dr. Jeffrey King. He liked
Streamlabs is going stronger.
Too much.
In prison?
More than she
Now what's
liked
in
him.
prison do?
She made the mistake of dating him when she first started. A mistake both of them would eventually regret. Him more than her. When she broke it off, he started to get aggressive. It started with late night calls and texts. Then eventually, he started showing up drunk, screaming in our front yard for my mom. Then our house was broken into, and only my mother's room was trashed. We knew it was him, but there was no proof. The next day, my mom put in a 2 weeks notice. I begged for her to just not go back.
Disappointing!
Do the right thing.
Fuck.
No one ever does the right thing. I started going to her office after school, in fear he might hurt her. I wasn't going to let that happen. He never looked at me while I was there. He
What
only
the
looked
fuck?
at her. One day, while my mom was getting ready to go home after work, I broke into the filing cabinet. She was in the back room, so I knew I had a few minutes. I found the names.
I'm too young for math.
Previous secretaries.
That's a freaking.
And that night, I called all of
Like,
them.
who isn't too young for? Oh.
He had done this before. He liked to prey on secretaries. They all told me similar stories. One ended much worse than the others. One woman ended up in the hospital after she was brutally abused on her way home from the office.
Whoa, wait!
She stated to the police that it was the good doctor, but for some reason, no charges were filed. Later, King told me he had done work for the chief of police and that they had become golfing buddies. The woman said she had always turned down his advances, and the attack happened the last day of her 2 weeks' notice. Tomorrow was my mom's last day. The decision made itself.
Oh, Nekwa, do you want to try that new
I was sitting in King's office.
point redemption thing?
He wasn't sitting though. I'm sure it would have been too difficult to find a chair, since I'd burned out his eyes with his own LASIK machine. That one was funny.
No, not now. Oh, you gotta wait for it.
It's open,
Waiting for the perfect opportunity, huh?
Hooks were attached to wire, which I stapled to the back of his head, so his eyes would stay open. I taped down his head too.
Yo, do you fucking mind?
To burn anything other than those baby blues. Then,
but it failed.
I turned on the machine and took a seat. The shrieking started very quickly. I had to tape his mouth shut so he would stay quiet. Surprisingly, I managed to get the tape off before I could sit back down.
But when will be the perfect opportunity for that?
I took a seat and began to explain myself. He didn't recognize me apparently, so I explained who my mother was, about the woman I talked to, blah blah blah. Let's just say by the end of it,
Bruh.
he knew why this was happening. I adjusted his head so the other eye was in the beam. After a few more minutes, I turned off the machine. I didn't want his eyes to get infected, so I poured a bottle of rubbing alcohol in them. He didn't like that either. Delaying the inevitable, I ripped the tape off of his mouth and asked him a few questions, to which
You're
he
fucking
had
vibing.
some very interesting answers. Through sobs, he described the things he'd done to women in the past. It sounded
Yeah, get the
like a
fuck out of
confession.
here, Lunala, you fucking
Confession
fuck.
only a
You
monster
fucking
would
fuck.
ever tell a priest. I had been fantasizing about what was to come next all my life. Yet, I was nervous.
For Twigs, switch.
My heart was racing now. I was sweating and my hands were shaking. Don't judge me. It was my first time. I didn't have any of my tools yet, and all I had with me was an old military bayonet I had found in a garage a few years back. My mom never said where it came from, but I knew it was my father's. For a moment, while the good doctor spoke, I studied the blade. There was a small
Knees weak,
triangle
arms are
squished into the
heavy.
base.
Mom's
Something
spaghetti.
black that had drooled down from the tip and dried.
Oh,
By
bada
confession,
bing.
I stabbed Dr. Jeffrey in the throat, just to the right of his jugular.
Oh, jeez.
He bled a lot and kept trying to take deep breaths.
Wait, I don't think we got our encounter
As
for
he
this route
screamed
anyway.
and gurgled, I took the blade in even deeper.
Ooh! Pretty dino.
After watching him pour all over the floor, I went home. My heart wasn't racing. I wasn't sweating. My hands weren't shaking. I became me that night.
Oh, yes, a murderer! Oh, jeez.
Good stuff, huh? You should take comfort in the fact that not all of us are like
Alright, we
you.
have 2 more shots at our first
We're all
encounter.
different. We don't all kill or torture or abuse or maim or stab or shoot or kidnap. We all have our own thing. We all have our own needs. Some of us just feed them in different, less murdery ways. Some find comfort in alcohol or drugs. Some of us like to steal. Some of us like to unscrew handrails on handicapped ramps and sit back and watch. I once saw a story in the news about a janitor who worked the night shift at a small Catholic church. Every night he would clean the bathrooms, wipe down the pews, and jack off into the holy water.
Ew.
You see, we all have our own thing.
That's just gross and rude. Why would you do that?
Rest assured, you're not one of us. Be thankful for that. Consider yourself lucky.
Jeez.
Cherish your normal life. Do not take it for granted. We sure don't.
I shall call
We don't want
you.
to be like you. Maybe before our firsts we did, but not after. No, after we considered ourselves lucky
No.
to not be like the rest of you.
I gotta
Blessed
save.
is a word I think you people use
I gotta
quite
save
often.
HP for
Some
when
of
I
us
catch a
don't feel the same
dragon.
way, however.
I will name
Some of us hate being
you.
us. They just haven't had their first yet, and that's very understandable. Some of us are late bloomers. Some never bloom at all. It's very sad when they don't understand what they are. They don't
Joe.
understand how to reach
Even
their
though you're a
full
lady,
potential.
center box.
They must feel so lost and hopeless.
Joe
inside.
Mama!
that
Oh,
probably
peak
never goes
humor!
They try to fill their lives with something meaningful, but nothing ever sticks.
I should have called it
They look
Audrey
for their calling in
too!
traditional careers.
Little Shop of
but they hate their job.
Horrors!
They look for love,
Hello.
but love always leaves them.
2-1 Squats really uses all your muscles like such a guitar.
Maybe lots of followers on Twitter, or lots of friends on Facebook. None of those people are real friends though, but they know that. They end up staying home when
Got
it's
'em.
safe. They can't get hurt at home.
Yeah!
They stop
This
trying.
edgy teen.
Stop letting people in. People
Gotta go
just
through all that
hate you
preteen
and
angst.
leave you. This is the stage where most will remain until they die, whether naturally and alone, or by their own hands and alone.
Plenty.
If this is at all hitting very close to home
Who?
and describes your life, congratulations, you're one of us.
No, I'm just
Welcome.
yanking your chain,
The water is
boy.
warm. Just jump. To the rest of you, all I can say is this. Watch. That person who sits behind you in class.
Rude.
That co-worker in the corner desk who never talks to you. That neighbor who rarely comes out of their house. Watch them. Watch them because they may be like me. Or they may be much worse. They may not be a bloomer. In which case, you'll never have to be that person in the news after a horrific event saying, "He was such a nice guy, very quiet." And most importantly of all, watch them. Because they are watching you.
No, they aren't. Well, it's time. Probably.
Every old house is bound to have a few rats, right? I bought the old house a
Yo,
year
it's still
after I
like
graduated from
chunky!
college. It was startlingly cheap for such a big house. 2 stories, multiple bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, conveniences that seemed luxuries after my tiny college dorm. It was a very nice house, despite being located in the middle of nowhere. Because I had lived in a fairly large
No,
city
Bide
for
is
the majority
dumb.
of my life. The silence of the house was by far the
Poor
worst thing
cat.
about it.
I will switch.
I was used to the hum of the city.
Go Streamlabs.
The constant drone of cars outside my window. Here, the nights were torture. The
Go.
silence was louder than anything I had ever heard before.
Go.
In my first week at the house,
Go.
I threw away my old wall clock because it's ticking. In the absence of any other noise, it was so loud it was apt to drive me crazy. This turned out to be a bad decision. The ticking was annoying, but it was at least a distraction from the other noises. I convinced myself every time the noises could be attributed to rustle of the wallpaper, a branch against the window.
Gotta say, this Jack Daniels down-home punch is pretty good. I don't know what alcohol is in it. What kind of alcohol is in
the
here,
noises
though?
did freak me out.
Oh, let's see. What does it say?
That's probably why the rats were, at least at first, a convenient
flavored
excuse.
beer. Settling may occur.
It was unreasonable to expect a vermin-free home in the middle of a forest, of course. But there were lots of rats.
Whatever.
I first noticed them when I opened a cupboard right after my first
Skull
trip to
Rock!
the store in the nearby town. I tried
Actually,
to
no, you know what? Got this, Streamlabs.
And I was greeted by 3 huge rats, staring blankly at me with beady eyes. After that,
Wow.
I found more rats around. Several in the basement, a few scuttling around the porch steps, the patter of their tiny paws in the attic, even a big grey one in my bedroom. Naturally, I purchased a few rat traps.
What items?
Which seemed to help
you
the
silly.
problem quite a bit.
You are going to die.
A few days after, I got a cat too. A small, scraggly creature I bought for $10 in a Walmart parking lot. Soon, my new cat became so efficient at catching the rats that I no longer felt the need to purchase rat traps every few trips to the store.
How annoying, yeah.
Though I never really
How's it
liked
feel?
animals, I began to grow close to the cat.
It's not like me to slip up like that.
I
gotta keep fighting stronger opponents. Looks like I'm still not
It
ready.
would have been perfectly
What?
easy to feel content at that
That
point.
kid there, his Pokemon aren't
I
weak.
was settling
And sure,
into
it's
a new
fine to
home
enjoy
nicely.
battling.
Tom was a good cat.
But this brat,
and the vermin
he
problem
just uses
was
it as an
under
excuse not to
control.
try hard because he can't beat the
The only
kahuna.
problem
Because he
was
can't
that
beat
the
Hollow when he's
noises
serious.
hadn't stopped.
You know my Gramps? Wait,
did
so
quiet
you
down
think
for
I'm
a while.
strong?
Just enough to
Oh,
explain
look
away.
at your little gla- Oh, what the fuck? Hold on, I
When
gotta...
heard scratching,
I gotta get
I
my
pat Tom
Boston
between the ears
accent here, way bada
and
bing.
told him
Oh,
he
look
was
at you, little
to.
Gladion. Aren't you just a real
When I
cool
was sure
guy?
something scraped against the window, it was probably just a limb on the tree outside. Once I thought I
Guess
heard
it's not
something
surprised
moving
a
in the
homeless kid
basement,
would turn out
I
spineless
asked
too,
myself
huh?
what Tom
No
could
worries,
be
we got
doing
enough
down there.
backbone to cover for ya.
Never mind that, I had just seen Tom walk into the kitchen.
Just give it up already.
There was always an excuse. Usually, I blamed
You
it
know
on
you
the
can't beat
rats.
me. You'll just get your Pokemon hurt for no.
After a few
They're
weeks,
good Pokemon.
Tom wasn't bringing dead rats to the doorstep anymore.
We came all this
There was
way and
fighting
for
in my
what?
head
For a big
until
fat
the
waste of our
just
time,
got
thanks to
bad luck.
ya. You hadn't gotten in
I
our way,
couldn't
we
let
could've
myself
stolen the
think
soda
that the
Pokemon
cat
from
killed
Brooklyn
all of
Hill.
them.
Get out of here.
Now,
Look, the book girl
Then
crying.
it would
It's
be
time we
harder
should
to
be
explain the
flying.
noises. Looking
Listen
back,
up, Gladion, the
I
boss
suppose
doesn't
what
like you, that's
started it
true.
was
But you're
Tom
just a
pouring
mad
over
help,
the
we
door,
keep around for when we
pointing
need
out.
you. You ain't part of Team
Years
Skull
later,
now, really, and
the
you'll
cat
never be.
never
Got
wanted
it? You
out
better
at night
get it.
before. I assumed he had seen a rat or some
Thank you,
small creature
Streamlabs.
outside, so I let him out and went back to bed. Not long after, I heard a relentless scratching noise outside my window.
Yeah, you better thank your
It was a
god.
harsh scraping noise. Not unlike
Yeah, it looks like I gotta
footsteps
train
on
up my
the
team if I'm gonna take on the
floor.
trial at
One
Brooklyn
day,
Hill
I
next.
tried to get
Here,
back
take
to
these with
sleep,
you. We're gonna beat the
but the
sound
noise
challenge.
continued.
Thank you.
Finally, I got up and went to look outside and see what the problem was. Something had its face pressed against the glass. It stayed there for just a second. But the
Bro,
fleeting
really?
image was enough.
Oh, fine.
That sight will still haunt my dreams for the rest of my life. Its face was long and as white as bone. It had no eyes, but a red light seemed to burn deep within the pits of its skull. Black veins ran over its head, crisscrossing and bulging. The rest of its body was covered in a thick black fur.
Por
Then,
quoi?
it was
Pourquoi?
gone.
Is that how you say why in Spanish? Is it pourquoi?
Once I had enough time to think on it, the creature was made even more
Holy
horrifying by the
fuck.
fact that my room, and of course my window, were on the house's second floor. After it left, the sheer reek of it finally hit me. The whole night was filled with the smell of the thing, despite the fact it had never entered my home, to my knowledge. The smell was sour and rotting, making me want to vomit. I staggered back from the window, petrified by both the sight and the stench. I got to my hands to my nose,
¿Por qué?
my eyes
It's
watering,
por qué.
and my legs shaking so hard.
¿Por qué?
I spent the rest of the night locked.
What the heck does pourquoi mean?
and
Then what's pourquoi?
Doubting what I had seen.
Pourquoi?
When morning came, the light gave me the courage to go outside. I remembered that.
Oh, it's
I left
French.
my cat outside and went around the house.
Pourquoi is French.
It didn't take me long to find him. I won't go into detail, but poor Tom didn't even look like a cat anymore.
Why? For which reason? Okay. I was close-ish, I guess.
And, to be honest, I didn't think I could get very close.
It's wrong language.
I was scared, and I was angry.
Yeah.
This thing had killed my cat and taken away any hope of a quiet, safe life here.
Look!
I didn't know what to do.
The Romance languages are very similar.
I wasn't hopeful they would do anything, but I knew I had to try. I was angry with their reactions, though I knew I
First you and your Romance languages!
They didn't offer any help with my problem, and only told me that if I didn't like it, I should sell the house. I drove home in a rage, intent on doing just that. I planned to put the house up for sale that very night. Let some other guy deal with that thing. I never got to my house.
God is dirty. Must be cleaned!
In the light of day, I could see its clawed hands. Huge, long paws, with claws the size of my entire hand.
You get yourself a victory bead.
I was still far away from it. I could make out the expression on its face.
Yes.
Oh! As it tilted its head to the side, and I could have sworn it grinned at me. Naturally, I put my car in reverse with the intentions of never returning to that house again. As I drove away, I could hear it scream, loud, almost scarily inhuman. I got a new house.
You know, I thought there'd be like a fun fact bot
I didn't tell anyone.
Or fact bot out there, but there is not. I would absolutely add a ooh.
City. Not untrue. And at the house in the woods.
Not gonna lie, if there was a fact bot, I would absolutely add a fact bot. That would be fun.
Is close to the city. It's not as quiet here, but it's undeniably more peaceful. I won't deny that. I still see that thing in my dreams. But I'm happy here. I got a new cat. One that seems even more friendly than Tom was. I even found a job so I can work nights, so that I never have to fear that thing staring at me in the darkness. I won't deny that sometimes I do hear noises. A scuffle in the basement, a rustle outside the window.
Apparently there's one for Discord.
Twice.
It's not the same,
Even
man.
what seemed like scratching outside.
I want to hear a random fun fact every 15 minutes while I stream so I can talk about it. So you know what? I'm just gonna look up a random, let's see here. Random fun fact. Oh, let's see here. Fun fact of the day. Daily fun facts. Let's see here. Random fact of the day. Epajar gestel malisti tamato by delanza canco. It's the longest word in the Finnish language. It means doubtful. Here's the word. Here's the word. Here's the word.
Times.
Okay.
It's not some kind of moral stand, and I'm not religious.
There we go. It's Finnish.
Something in the emergency room that has haunted me every day. I've not shared this with anyone until now. I woke up with a pounding headache and a dry mouth. Not an uncommon morning condition from my college days. I looked around the unfamiliar bedroom until I found my phone. It was 11 AM on Sunday. I sat on the edge of the bed and began to put my clothes on. I noticed I was not alone. My heart started to race as I attempted to
What do you mean you doubt that?
night's drunken events. To my relief, I recognized the
You
girl
would
next to me
doubt
as one of my friends, and she rolled over in
you
discomfort
would doubt
in
these
the
things?
sunlight. I grabbed my shoes and started to put it on. Something was wrong. White hot pain shot up my leg as the inside of my shoe made contact with my big toe. I winced as I forced the Nike sneaker over my swollen foot. I threw my jacket on and made my way to the door. I immediately fell to the floor as soon as
It means
I
doubt.
pushed my right foot. I heard a burst of laughter from the girl behind me.
Fuck you.
Still a little drunk,
Ah,
eh?
fuck you, man.
I replied. No, my foot is killing me. I think something is wrong.
Can't believe you've done this.
What did you do to
Oh,
it?
fuck, I
You were
can't
fine
believe
last
you've
night
done
when you were
this.
running around downtown.
I can't
Yes.
believe it.
I recalled the memory of the previous day. Oh, damn, I was running? I got my big toenail removed because of that soccer injury from the intramural game. The doctor told me to take it easy. I must have not thought about it after I was drinking. My foot was still numb from the anesthetic. Ouch. Well, go home and take care of it, she said. I sighed and said goodbye and left. Being a dumb college kid, I limped the entire 2 miles back to the shack my college roommates and I called home.
Ooh!
I immediately sat down and started drinking to curb the hangover. It wasn't until later that night
Tapu
someone
Koko.
decided to talk some sense into me. We had some friends over, and one girl, who happened to be a pre-med, noticed my limping. "What happened to you?" she asked. I had a minor surgery in my foot, and it just hurts. I could barely put my shoe on this morning," I replied. She got a closer look at my leg. "Oh my god, you need to go to the hospital. You see those red streaks running up your leg? That's
Got a
blood
cookie
poisoning."
too.
She grabbed my arm and rushed me to a car. She was nice enough to drop me off at the front door of the ER. Drunk,
Beans!
I limped inside and was immediately wheeled back to a room. This began the strangest night of my life. The ER of the university hospital was especially crowded. I was put into a room that was already occupied, with a plastic curtain separating me from the other patients. The occupants of the room caught my attention.
I don't have a
There
Lilliput,
was an
bro.
unconscious man on the other bed, stiff as a board.
Bro, I don't have a fucking Lilliput!
Next to his bed was a woman, extremely thin, with a sunken face and tattered grey hair, and looked like she hadn't slept in years. She sat frozen in her chair.
Bro!
Sitting in
What are you,
front of the
guarding these
coffin
beans?
was a tall male nurse,
Fucking guarding
an
these
EMT,
beans?
and a police officer. The woman gazed forward with a blank stare.
Fucking
as the
guarding
cops
these
spoke to her.
beans?
"Ma'am, you need
You're
to
the
tell us what you
bean
want.
guardian!
He's going to die, but we may be able to save him if you just tell us. We want to hear it in English. Can you do that?" The woman didn't respond. The interrogation went on like that for a while, and the woman continued to stare forward with her unwavering gaze.
Oh, fuck!
Finally, my nurse came back in to hook
Fuck.
an IV to me. She spoke.
Why would you do
"This
this?
should help
To
with the
me!
infection, and will help
Huh?
sew you up a bit." I looked at her, and she winked at me. She leaned in and whispered to me,
Beans!
"Sorry about the patients next to us. Try and
Bro,
ignore them if you
sturdy.
can."
Come on, man.
She returned to
You
another
can't
room.
just be doing
The
this.
hospital is
You
pretty
can't just
crazy
be
tonight,
doing this.
so the
Why would you
resident
do
doctor
this
wants
to
me
me?
work on getting this
Oh,
infection
I can't
out of your
believe
foot.
it.
You're lucky this didn't reach your lymph nodes.
Oh,
Sepsis
fuck,
is
I
no
can't
joke.
believe you've done this.
I'm going to have
Ah,
to make an
fuck.
incision on your toe and
Ah,
drain out the
fuck, I
infection.
can't believe you've
Hang
done
on
this.
with a local anesthetic first. I grimaced as she stuck the long needle into my toe. "I'll be back in 15 minutes when you're numb," the nurse said as she left.
A fracture! La
I
la
looked
la
out
la,
to the hall
fracture,
as she walked
fracture.
out. I noticed another police officer just outside, and he was talking with a priest. It was not uncommon to see priests around campus. The university was Catholic. But I found it strange that
Need
he
some
was
milk?
right outside my hospital room.
Drink your milk!
The man in the bed next to me had not moved. Maybe he was going to die and they were going to read him his last rites. My heart was racing. I had never witnessed a death before. I turned my gaze from the hall to the curtain next to me. Just behind it was the strange woman, but she was now staring directly at me with her dull, grey eyes.
Ow.
I quickly turned away from her. I felt eyes pierce through me as an icy shiver.
You know there's a cheat that lets you catch your opponent's Pokemon?
My nurse returned.
I don't use it, but that's a fun fact.
She sterilized the scalpel and my toe and began cutting. I couldn't look. I'm not very good with that sort of thing.
Do it.
Without thinking, I turned my head to the right again. The woman was still staring at me. As soon as our eyes met, I had the strangest vision. It was like I started daydreaming, but it was so vivid. I imagined myself taking the scalpel and stabbing my nurse with it over and over again.
Bro, what the fuck?
I heard the sounds of her screams and saw the horrific, bloody mess. I yelled aloud, "No!" I snapped out of the daydream. I was horrified with what I had just imagined. I was not a violent person at all. I had never even thought.
No, I'm talking about the story.
In my life. My stomach began to turn with nausea. Concerned with my outburst, the nurse asked me if I was okay. I told her I was, and she continued.
Star piece.
I
think
to my
that
right
sells for
again
money.
At the withered woman. She was still staring at me, but now was smiling an eerily wide smile. It was like she was amused at my discomfort.
Oh wait, this is a new route, which means is this a new route? I think this is a new route.
The nurse finished, wrapped my.
I think this is a new area, so we get a new encounter.
To check on me. As she left, more medical personnel entered and wheeled away the man who was on the bed. They had draped a sheet over his body. The police officer and priest walked in and closed the door. The priest gave me a slight nod as he walked by.
Hello.
I noticed my cross necklace was exposed through my hospital gown.
Does this count as dupes? I'm gonna say it counts as dupes. I'm gonna say this counts as dupes.
As soon as I heard it.
I'm gonna say this counts as dupes.
Hissing and screaming as soon as she saw the priest. The police officer spoke. "Cut that out or I will arrest you." The priest interjected. "No need for that at the moment.
Yo! It's a Diglett.
I heard the woman spit. He spoke again.
Fucking
Diglett. In a different language.
Oh.
I hadn't been to church in a while.
Yeah.
But something in Latin caught my ear. I heard nomine, which I know means name. To my amazement,
nomine!
The words hissed out of her mouth at an incredible rate. She spoke in Latin, just as the priest had. When she stopped, the cop spoke. "This is how she was talking when we found her father. What is she saying?" The priest replied, "I need you to leave us. Take the boy." The cop then walked over to me. "Let's get you to another room, son. This
I'm fine, don't
been
worry.
through a lot tonight." I was happy to leave. I just wanted to be out of there.
I'm out of my Jack Daniels.
And climbed into my wheelchair. The hair on the back of my neck stood
For
up
the
as
perfect
woman
timing in
spoke
regard
aloud
to the spooky
in
spaghetti.
"Your mother misses you, David."
Nomine!
She then let out the most terrifying laugh I had ever heard. As the cop wheeled me out of my room.
Alright, I'm gonna open up my other flavor of Jack Daniels. I'm gonna be right back.
Off behind me. My eyes welled up with tears as I reflected on two things. First, my mother took her own life a few years ago.
Southern Peach!
Second, and even more disturbing, none of the medical staff
Southern
in
Peach.
that room had said David aloud.
When the peach is southern. Yeah, Can ASMR. Did you not enjoy it? Did you not enjoy Can? Huh? Did you not enjoy Can? You better have enjoyed Can.
My life has always been great. Well, mostly. Let me explain. It all began when I was 16 years old. My family and I moved into an old house in Georgia. We had moved from North Carolina due to my father's job needing him to be at the company's office in the
Hi,
States.
Lana.
Hello, I'm Lana. I serve as the captain of Brooklyn Hill. So shall I go? Will you be attempting my trial?
Yeah.
My sister took it much harder than I did.
Then I will explain the trial to you. My particular trial is this. I want you to herd the Pokemon found in the pools of Brooklyn Hill, driving them downstream to draw out the totem Pokemon. If I might be so blunt, they are wishy-washy. It's wishy-washy I want you to herd. But I won't expect you to swim through all the pools yourself. I have a lovely gift to help you.
Person on liking the appearance of homes and whatnot, but I admit the house.
You climb atop lappers there, you'll be able to travel over bodies of water.
Very old house.
Now you'll be able to drive those Pokemon downstream from me.
Two-story colonial.
So if you're ready, please follow me this way.
It even had a small balcony that connected to my parents' room. My sister and I were in separate rooms on either side of our parents'. The inside of the home was very bright.
But would this count as a... Nah, you know what, we'll do the trial first.
When my mother got a hold of the place, she did her best.
So you made it. I'm sorry, what was your name? Of course, Capo. It's a lovely name, just lovely. Now then, do you see those two splashes over there?
There were also stairs that led to a cellar. A room that we had avoided for a while.
I figured that at least one of them might contain a wishy-washy. Practice likely both, don't you agree?
You helped when we first moved there.
Ooh, gassy.
I mean, sure, there were noises such as creaking and other various sounds, but it was to be expected with a house of its age. It seemed like the perfect home for a family our size. It was very comfortable. Life in Georgia wasn't that much different than it had been.
Yo, it's a Trumbic!
I went to school with my sister. Well, my parents both worked.
It's a fucking Trumbic!
It all went by smoothly.
What the fuck was that voice?
For the first month.
Alright, let's see, how does this southern peach taste?
The noises began to get louder and accompanied by other strange occurrences. Windows and doors seemed to open and close by themselves.
I think I prefer the punch better.
Rearranged. My parents didn't believe me or my sister when we experienced these things after school. They just dismissed it as us finally acting out about moving. This didn't make sense as I loved it here. I was finally making friends, and my sister's popularity had spiked here too. Life was going good for us. There was just something going on in this house.
Spooky house, move out. Yo, it's a Kabuto!
Worse. The noises became more frequent, and soon, things such as vases and glasses broke.
Your house is hard to get the fuck out, bro.
Deep into a show that I was watching on TV. I began to hear bits and pieces of a conversation. The voices sounded as if they were right.
The little dude.
This replaced them on the balcony.
It's not Lord Helix though. It's not Lord Helix.
My room was
not Lord Helix, so who cares if it's not Lord Helix?
I reached out and moved the blinds to allow just enough room.
Not Lord Helix.
Don't go. Don't go to the cellar. That was the last I heard as the conversation ended. There was no sign of anyone out there in the darkness.
Remember, don't go in the cellar.
This caused
assuming your house has one.
Into my parents'. I explained the whole event to them. They only would say that I was either tired or had fallen asleep. That was no dream. and I most definitely was not tired, to say the least. I didn't get much sleep.
Item! Float stone! I don't know what that does. What's a float? What the fuck is a float stone?
And seemingly normal for a while after that. I actually started getting sleep and felt like I was living in a normal house for once. There was no strange occurrences happening when I got home or anything like that. For the first time, I invited 4 of my friends to stay the night one week.
Zooming. We do be zooming. Did you know we could zoom even more?
As things were still quiet in the home. We messed around most of the day with things like games and watching TV.
Thought someone knocked at my door.
Ghost stories. My friends told pretty frightening tales, but when it got to me, I didn't know what to say. Not wanting to disappoint them,
I think we do get an encounter here, but we'll just get it after our trial.
Previously in the home. The 4 were fascinated, yet obviously terrified of what could be in that house with us. Being boys, they started.
Yo, it's a cacnea! You gotta get out of here, you're gonna be overwatered. Fun fact. When I was a little lass, I had a cactus, like a little baby cactus in my room as a plant. I killed it because I watered it too much.
This turned out to be a good thing. Even though we knew the door was stuck.
That's all you needed to know.
Anyway. Every one of us tried to open the door, but to no avail. It wouldn't budge.
Bro, I got some heartburn. Bro, come on.
Together, we all
what the fuck?
A battering ram and slammed into the door.
I did. I will not lie. I did kill that plant.
The door to slam open. A dreadful smell slammed against us as soon as the door hit the wall.
My punishment is heartburn.
Welcomed us with the smell.
Whew.
I reached in and ran my hand against the wall, looking for a light switch, only to find one that didn't work.
To get some Tums!
My friends remained at the door as I went to get a flashlight. When I returned, we all exchanged who we thought should go in. After a minute of the suggestions, I gave the idea of us all going in. As a group, we all decided this to be the best option, and this is what we did.
What?
Stepping out.
I'm gonna sip some water.
To find the stairs that led down into the cellar. The smell only got worse as we went further in. There was an unknown smell to us all. It almost smelled like a mixture of the smell of a skunk and a rotten egg, but much, much worse. We looked around as I shined the flashlight out into the room. The source of the stench was the most horrifying thing.
Hey, you want to hear a cool kid fact? Thus far tonight, we have not dropped a single frame. Let's go!
Seemed to be a room for where the previous occupant prepared his food. The remains were all mutilated, and instruments of the evil act laid everywhere, drenched with blood. The body hung from a chain. Parts of its form missing, and the face were broken bones. We were frozen in the room. We couldn't move due to
Wormadam!
Though shortly we did. As I turned the flashlight to another part of the room,
Pogma.
we found another person.
Wait, last stream did... no, wait.
Stood tall and turned
no. I believe last stream, we dropped 29% of our frames.
Were gone. His eyes focused on us as he opened his mouth to speak. Leave. His voice, a growl that sent shivers down our spines and caused the adrenaline to kick into overdrive. We did as he said.
So we didn't drop a lot, but we did drop some.
To finish the tale off, he didn't ever return to the cellar. No one has in years. The tale behind what had happened in that place was never explained to us. My family moved from that home, far from it, and I hear that no one has ever lived in the home since. I'll never.
Would you fucking stop?
In that cellar.
Seriously. I am going to shit my fuck. Get the fuck out of here. Julio grows stronger. Get me to the next spooky story. I want to hear the next spooky story.
Project Erebus is the official name.
Spooky story!
I believe it is the public's right to know of the creature that has entered our world. My team and I do not have a title, but I would refer to us as government contractors. Our primary objective is to study unexplainable phenomena and report it back to the federal government. We set up wherever we're needed.
You actually lose a large percentage of your taste buds while in an airplane, despite explaining a lot about those lessons solar in-flight meals.
National Park. You can search
that makes sense.
But I guarantee you will not be able to locate it. And it's better that you do not. The location
I also think
1 year ago by local hikers. A young married couple.
There's only been one time relatively recently that I've actually been on a flight long enough to warrant one of those in-flight meals that wasn't just like a freaking snack pack.
Containment of the creature and studying it as much as possible. The two hikers were led to the dwelling when they followed a trail of animal carcasses. The trail stretched several hundred yards and eventually led to a cave opening between two large pine trees. The hole was described as a perfect circle, about 10 feet in diameter. The discovery was reported when the husband made a distress call to local park rangers. His wife claimed she smelled, quote-unquote, the sweetest aroma coming from inside the subterranean lair. As the husband attempted to remove her from the area, she reportedly became violent and hysteric. Escaping from his grip, she sprinted into the hole, turned to smile at her partner, and gracefully fell backwards into the darkness of the cave. The husband reportedly ran forward and heard his wife's body hit the cave floor after a few moments.
Capo, look! Yes, just over there!
From the cave's opening.
So it seems that we succeeded in drawing out the totem Pokemon.
Laughter coming from
Strike against the totem with all your strength and seize victory.
Never located. When the feds were notified, we were called in to help with the containment. We received an initial briefing.
His name is Sid!
Depicted a horrifying creature dwelling in the cave. Thus began construction of the bunker.
Man, Sid is a fucking legend.
Process. The creature we've been
both in Final Fantasy and in Sesame Street.
In nature than anything I've ever seen or studied. My only solid conclusion is that the being is otherworldly.
That's a spider.
Whatever it is invisible in video recordings, both digital and film. The live footage shows the cave
it's a dead. Speaking of. No, we actually weren't speaking of dead child hallucinations, but man, remember when I was talking about dead child hallucinations?
Containing the beast was nearly impossible. We eventually trapped it by sealing the entrance the aforementioned hiker fell in. Our team then drilled our own opening and barricaded it with a steel blast door. There are only a few humans who have seen it with a naked eye. A retired captain known as Walsh was the first. It was my first.
Now you're on fire.
When we lost him. Equipped with his 9mm sidearm, Walsh entered the cave around 6 AM on Monday morning, and the massive steel door was quickly shut behind him.
Again!
He immediately began to complain of the heat, claiming the temperature was unbearable. The facility's thermometer showed the cave at only 55 Fahrenheit. His complaints of the heat were followed by several minutes.
Ominous? No, you just missed the last Call of Cthulhu stream.
His voice boomed out of the intercom speakers. Let us out. How can you people be so blind? Looking at the monitor, we saw nothing but an empty cave.
Strawberries are not actually berries, but bananas are berries. Ooh.
We spoke into the receiver.
Banana!
Walsh, what is it? Tell us what you see. He hissed a response. Worthless swine, all of you. Let us out. Our team looked around in a state of confusion and panic. Walsh was staring directly at the center of the cave.
But Nekoma, you grew to level 25!
Strobed. For a moment, the creature showed itself for the first
Just like, think
time
about that.
on film. I saw the outline of a dark, humanoid being sitting on the ground, cross-legged, with one hand in the air and the other resting on its side.
Banana!
Rotato
faster, banana!
Back towards the entrance. The video feed cut out. Rapid whispers came through the speakers and sounded like 100 voices in unison. Our team sat in silence, waiting for something, anything. The silence was interrupted by three
knowledge is knowing
on the other side of the
that a tomato is a fruit, but wisdom is knowing not to put tomatoes in a fruit salad.
Rifles aimed at the door as it was opened. To our relief, a seemingly unharmed Walsh crossed the threshold and stood in the open doorway. Our relief turned to horror. It was his eyes. I can still picture them, the image forever burned in my mind. His eyes were a blank canvas of white,
Good job.
absent of irises and pupils. Two steady streams of blood ran from his tear ducts down his cheeks, creating two crimson puddles on the stone floor. He stood there, silent and unblinking. We were shocked, unsure of what to do or say.
Reality is what you make of it.
It can smell us. It's hungry. He
Hungry.
said in a whisper as he raised the pistol to his temple. It wasn't the shot that frightened me the most, or the explosion.
What a very
of gore
surprising
that painted the
surprise.
walls
Who would have
behind
thought
him.
it? That all those
What I
wishy-washy
frightened me most
gathered would have
was
summoned
the
an
massive
arachnid, that is.
jet black,
Even I was caught hook,
thin
like, and
hand
sinker.
that
You were
pulled
amazing,
Walsh's
truly
lifeless
impressive.
corpse
Please take this.
back into the cave, just before the blast door was slammed shut. I will never forget the sound of his tearing flesh. All the records of Walsh were
Trial
deleted.
complete!
Even a personal email chain between us was erased without my consent or knowledge. After the
You do know what
incident,
this is, don't you?
nobody wanted to
Watch,
enter
this
the
is how you
cave.
use Waterium Z.
Many of us, myself included, tried to abandon the project.
And I have more than
Officials
just
told
that
us
to
that
offer
leaving
you.
the site
Another token if
would
I
be
claim my
considered
trial.
treasonous.
Here, this is a
We
Lana
would
original,
regret
one of
the
my own
decision.
handmade fishing rods.
The feds decided to send in one of their own. I do not
This
know
is
his
how
real
you use
name,
my fishing rod.
but they
When you
refer
want to
him
fish for
as
Pokemon, look for
X.
piles of rocks in the
He
water.
was a middle-aged
Fish like to hide in the
masculine
shadows there.
with salt
When you
and
see your
pepper
bob
hair.
dip under the water, you have a
By the
bite,
way
but
he
you won't for
carried
long.
himself,
The
you could
Pokemon
tell
will
he
struggle
was
to
in
get
charge
away, so press
and
A
not
as
to
soon
be
as you
messed
see the
with.
exclamation mark.
Somebody
To
in
catch
the
any of the
room
Pokemon you fish
described
up
him
for your
as
team, I recommend dive
unbreakable.
balls.
Before he went in, we concluded that looking at the creature with the naked
By the
eye
way,
was too
did you know
risky.
I once reeled in a red
We
Gyarados?
sent X in with
Really?
carbon fiber protective glasses
Well, what do you think?
equipped with
You
impenetrable
did a fine job
plexiglass
today.
lenses.
Shall I see you back to the Pokemon Center on Route
blast doors
5?
open.
Yeah, okay.
And X confidently walked inside. As soon as we closed the door, we lost audio. We repeatedly tried to reach him, only to be met with static. An hour passed with no response.
What? is yours and yet used by others more than yourself.
Praying that we would not be chosen to go in after him. Just before
Good question. Brooklyn Hill. Okay, yeah, this is a new encounter, so...
We open the door, and a ghost white
lemonade
came crawling out. The
lemon
man was on the floor, screaming hysterically as he held his hands over his ears, as if he was protecting them from an unbearable noise. He repeatedly screamed,
"Your name!
Its name! He told me its name!"
That's a fucking big brain.
The staff raced to his side, attempting to settle him down. There was no use. He squirmed in agony until one of the doctors injected him with a sedative. It took 5 men to hold him still.
You don't get it. Great ball. You get a regular ass Pokeball.
What happened to him spread around like a disease.
Pardon.
His eardrums had somehow been completely removed while inside the cave. The feds brought in their top psychiatrist to analyze X. With his loss
it's a male one, so if we raise it, it'll become a Motham. So that's pretty cool. I will call you
X got up
Food.
And whispered the name of the creature into her ear. It is on record that the second X
what did the ocean say to short? Nothing, it waved.
Instantly lost the ability to speak, and the psychiatrist appeared to enter a trance state. Both were found dead the next day, hanging from the rafters of their individual rooms. From the evidence we have gathered, the creature seems to be stealing human senses. The hiker's sense of smell, Walsh's sight, and X's hearing.
Anyway, please vibe for a bit while I go use the restroom real quick.
To the world is because I genuinely believe it is too late. 3 more caves have been discovered, all with 10-foot openings and a trail of dead animals leading to them. We have no idea how many more there are. Howard Simkin was a quiet man, a nice man, everybody said so. Who could have seen the future? Howard grew up in the small town of Dackenby, the son of average parents of average wealth. In fact, everything around Howard's life was decidedly average, even his job, an accountant. He was a stand-up comedian's wet dream. As a young man, Howard found it difficult mixing in with others of his age, and therefore became a bit of a loner. His life, like his balance sheets, calculated to boredom.
Can't believe you call my joke fishy.
Into the minus column. That was until July of the summer of 1975, when he...
Where am I going now?
And the balance of his life moved firmly into the plus column. He fell in love with her immediately. Howard, however, held no hope of Brenda feeling the same way about him. How could she? Brenda to look at was nothing special.
I don't know where to go.
Most people wouldn't have given her.
Oh, it looks like back to Paniola Town. Okay.
But to Howard, she was the air that he breathed, the sun that warmed him.
Oh, great. So one of these. Okay, yeah. Sometimes this happens with the AIP plugin where it won't actually buffer the whole video through, so you'll get weird stuttering like that.
On the southern edge of the small town of Ranville, there is a wide, unlit road that separates the town from a wild and thick forest.
Yeah, that's just the thing with the AMP player.
They are the homes of the Peters family, old Mrs. Abernathy, and Joshua Daniels, respectively. And they look out across the road upon the forest that the sun can scarcely pierce. Many travelers who have taken the road late in the evening have confessed to feeling a peculiar sense of uneasiness as they pass the trees in the darkness.
Oh, wait, what? Oh, hey, cool!
Stories shared in hushed whispers amongst the children of the town that speak of an evil presence lurking within the woods. Apart from the occasional incident of missing cattle, no apparition of maliciousness has ever befell Ranville. And so the town slumbers peacefully.
Also, the babbies have gone to bed, so I might end the stream soon.
It was in the early days of autumn that the men came and installed lights up and down the road that cast their luminous light into the trees. It was a welcome change to the residents of the road, who hoped that this would ease any feelings of insecurity in the darkness. Any wrongdoers who had previously made mischievous plans for the road would surely be exposed and foiled, and so the residents hoped for a good night's rest. While the additional light took a little getting used to, they all slept easy that night, except for Adam Peters, the son of the Peters family, who had horribly unpleasant dreams. But that is often the case for children when confronted with any sort of change. The next morning, the residents all agreed the lights were a blessing sent from above. On the third night after the arrival of the lights, Mrs. Abernathy sat in a chair by the window, reading from a book. She was always of restless spirit, so
this Yulmore in Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers expansion
until the first rays of sun peeked up from the horizon. On this particular evening, the clock had just passed 1, and her mind had begun to drift from her literature. She looked out of a window upon the illuminated street. Everything seemed much clearer to her, and she took some small pleasure in watching the trees creak ever so slightly in the wind. The leaves engaged in subtle, ritualistic dances, and the branches swayed unsteadily. Then something caught her eye. Some bushes that didn't match the natural rhythm the others seemed to share. It could have easily been some nocturnal animal of the wild attending to its business. And yet,
and your lombre
felt uneasy. Perhaps it was the result of her imagination, captivated by late-night reading, but she could swear she felt that the more she watched the disturbance, the more she felt that she was being watched herself. Slightly disturbed by the ordeal, she drew the blinds and returned to a book in an effort to take her mind elsewhere. By the time morning came, she had forgotten all about her late-night observations. As the sun was beginning to set the following evening, Adam Peters was playing alone on the road.
Fucking go.
The lights had not yet come on, and so he found himself in the ill-illuminated haze of dusk. The wind was of mild temperament, but still possessed a bitter, icy bite.
I guess this is our is this an encounter? I'm gonna consider it an encounter.
Entertainment indoors. His mother's insistence had driven him
ran over.
into the cold
he did.
Air. He was eagerly anticipating the moment
because, like,
the
did you get run over?
To life, and his mother would fetch him to return indoors. The hours of play had been almost entirely devoid of fun, and were replaced by a mysterious sense of uncertainty. He was without an inkling of doubt that something was not as it should be. And yet, he could not fathom what it could be. His dreams of late had been terrible in nature, and he suspected that this was influencing his mood. As he sat in reflection, he began to feel the hairs on his neck stand up. Adam felt the all too familiar sensation of someone.
Why would you deny your god like this? At least your creator.
He immediately turned himself around to discover
what did happen?
This was perplexing to Adam, as he was certain he could
Bam.
sense the presence of another person. He scanned the neighboring houses, and there was no visible signs of any other residents going about their business outdoors. Just as he was beginning to doubt himself, he heard the voice of his mother calling for him. He was relieved that he would be able to return to the comfort of his home, and stood up at once. He ran up the front steps, crossed the porch, and entered the house. As he was closing the door, he made one more attempt to identify the mysterious presence that was once again unsuccessful.
X-Defense?
The road was completely deserted.
Super.
Later that night, Joshua Daniels awoke from a peaceful slumber by the unpleasant sensation of dryness of the throat. His thirstiness evicted him from his bed and carried him downstairs to the kitchen, where he fetched a glass tumbler and filled it with water directly from the tap.
As one does.
The clock in his kitchen told him that it was nearing 3, which irritated him immensely, as he knew his remaining hours of conscious sleep would be insufficient for the day ahead. Just as he was switching off the kitchen light,
hey yo, what the fuck?
Yet distinguishable tapping noise coming from the road outside. He was intrigued and unsettled by the noise coming at such a late hour. In his freshly awakened state, it took him a little more time.
Welcome to Pikachu Valley. That's what the Pikachu are saying anyway.
About the nature of the noise.
Get the special Pikachu themed present to celebrate your first trip.
Footsteps crossing the road.
Okay.
Increasingly closer.
Look at all those chickens.
A looming sense of dread grasped him and held him in place, as it was an almost unheard of occurrence for someone to be walking the road this hour. The footsteps stopped, and Joshua remained petrified in his kitchen for several minutes until he was able to muster the courage to approach the window. It took a great deal of bravery to pull back the blind and peer out into the newly lightened road. However, his bravery offered him little in the way of answers. There was not a single person that Joshua could see anywhere in the gardens, or the road, or the forest.
Thunderstone?
He hastily made his way to his door to ensure that it was locked. He then made his way upstairs
to the internet. Let's see.
Until the sun rose with the light on, convincing
Shiny
himself that he had even imagined the whole event.
Darker.
It was the
Last question.
Coldness of her house that awoke Anne Peters the next morning. Immediately,
it was
she sprang from her bed to investigate why her house felt so alien to her.
Was Elm.
She walked down the stairs and was at
End
once
of our quiz.
struck by the alarming
5 out of
sight
5.
of the front door wide open to the elements. The feeling of a security
I have new clothes, yay!
Was enough to bring her to tears.
Free clothes.
Making her way over to the door, she began to notice strange marks on the floor. They were violent indents into the wood, as if someone had attempted to maintain a grip to the floor while resisting some pulling force. In an instant of pure fear, Anna knew exactly what had happened. She let out a deafening scream that woke most of the town. Her husband appeared to her aid within moments.
Wait, did we make a loop all the way back around?
Burst of tears, she pleaded him to check on Adam's room. When he entered his son's room, he confirmed the darkest fears of his wife. Their son was nowhere to be seen. He sprinted out into the middle of the road, desperately calling his son's name, but to no avail. Perhaps
no, we are back here.
He would not have overlooked a torn piece of his son's shirt that hung nonchalantly on the edge of a bush at the mouth of the forest. The rest of that day was a tempest of confusion, anger, and fear for the residents of the road. Many of the men of the town were called upon to search for the young boy. but hours upon hours of searching offered no clues to his fate or whereabouts. Joshua didn't speak of the events that had befallen him the night before, due to some combination of fear, denial, and guilt. But it did motivate him to take some sort of action. He emerged from his home with his toolset and set about deactivating each and every light.
I think that I will end that.
Feel so safe.
Let me save, bro.
Joshua knew now, as did the other residents.
Although we did not finish the story, I'm going to end the stream here for now.
To remain unilluminated.
We'll probably pick up more Call of Cthulhu on Friday. Hopefully we can save former... Oh, he's dead now. But hopefully we'll be able to save Hoover from being dipped in lava. Or molten whatevers. Yes. I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Thank you all for joining in. Thank you for saying it was a good stream too. Bye-bye.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye.